Howdy all, Seven here, and we've got a matchup between myself and Ripper Appy. Played this last night, and I was thinking High Elves when I saw it, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe lots of archers, perhaps. I think I've probably been watching too many Heir of Carthage videos where it just seems to be spears and and archers behind. So I thought, well, maybe we'll see how we go with the Chaos Chariot. Really, there's not much rationale for bringing the army that I did. I don't think it's very competitive, but I thought, oh, maybe there'll be a dragon, so I brought some halberds, some Forsaken to chase down archers if I can get hold of them, and you know, some Chaos Trolls to do some heavy lifting, and if they were just going to sit there and wait for us to come, I thought, well, having a Hell Cannon might be useful. So, but now, in seeing actually what the guy's bringing, obviously Phoenix Guard make life difficult for anybody and everyone. Having a big dragon and the artillery there is not going to be very much fun. So, not knowing about what my opponent was bringing, I thought, right, well, I'd see what they'd brought and use it to my advantage if possible, and hopefully can get off some death magic. Anyway, so this is how we started. I put my, I'll just slow it down for a second. Armor piercing Marauder Horsemen, me dogs, Poison Warhounds, and yeah, look, I thought maybe I could micro the Chaos Chariot, but I was also planning on having my Hell Cannon manually firing, so really I should have picked one and stayed with it, I think. Couldn't see these guys here. He had hidden his dragon behind this spire, but even when we started I could see it. So he started firing already. He's got the Eagle Claw bolt throwers and very high tier elite infantry cohort there. So it's going to be difficult. And Chariot's already getting blasted while I'm looking and seeing what's going on. So we'll just get into it. You know, these guys are all getting wet. Yeah. And then I finally realised that my cannon, my Chaos Chariot was getting clobbered to hell. So I thought, oh, maybe we can just hide in the forest. You can't hide a chariot; they're slightly larger than that. Anyway, thought I'd do a bit of scouting, and magically decided to find the archers and white lions. So thought, oh well, maybe I can get a bit of armor piercing damage done. But when you've got a giant dragon coming after you, you know, it's time to leave. So I figured, well, it's a trap over here. So I thought, well, old mate has not seen my Chaos Dragon yet, so not my Chaos Dragon, my Hell Cannon. So I'd bring that out and thought, we'll see how we go. Also going on the assumption that, well, if he's going to try and shoot any of the Chaos Marauders or whatever, they're pretty crap infantry, so I'm happy for them to be blasted if he wants to waste his Eagle Claw bolt thrower on him. So I wasn't planning on going anywhere, just wanting my stupid cannon to hurry up and get here, so I'd use the... and there was no point in getting shot at further, so I decided to move back and bring the elves to us. Stunties, nice hat. You know, even with a fairly modest setup, it's just amazing, these unit models. And the game runs, you know, relatively well on my PC. I'll have to get my specs, but it's certainly one or two architectures old. And the video card that I've got, as much as we'd all like a nice 1070 NVIDIA card or AMD card, yeah, mine's it's, I think, a bit older, 780 perhaps Ti, so it's not very pretty, but it does the job, and I mean, I'm having fun. That's the important part. So once the dragon started coming on, I thought, oh, this isn't much good. I thought I'd have another little foray, see what we can come up with, but the other thing too is I didn't realise my Chaos Lord was going to be on Manticore. I didn't turn that option off, and for me that is probably the stupidest idea anybody has ever had, simply because archers make life difficult for flying units, and High Elves have plenty of them, traditionally, and then you've got massive dragons, so I thought I'd get some Spirit Leech going on with my Chaos Sorcerer, who had no delusions of grandeur and did not get a flying mount. On the upside, my Chaos, my Hell Cannon is just here, and now that they're fighting, I can just manually aim and blast away at the dragon, which is what we're doing. And unfortunately, the Star Dragon can soak up bolts of Eldritch Fire like a boss. I mean, he's wearing a little bit of damage, but nothing massive. And at the same time as I'm microing this, I realise that my Lord is not doing terribly well. So we're still getting blasted away, but they're attacking the throwing axes, which probably makes sense, considering they're the only missile unit that I've got. And so my Chaos Lord decides to rout, which I wouldn't blame him for doing that, but that's why you don't bring a tiny knife to a gunfight. And that will be it for the Chaos Lord, who's going to rout off the field. So poor choice of transportation. He's going to be pursued by the horsemen, Marauder horsemen, but you know, it's not a big deal. So now I thought, okay, well, I'll start manually aiming and focusing down the elite infantry. Yep. So picking Swordmasters, and then I realised, oh, Phoenix Guard are going to be a lot harder to crack. Well, they're both going to be very difficult, but Phoenix Guard will certainly be the most difficult one. So with no dragon, we can just shoot them all day. Boom! Thanks for coming. So but it changes or my opponent changes the formation slightly to make it slightly harder to hit, but I think that one was not manually aimed. Anyway, so they're still blasting away with their Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, which really has done a bit of work, but maybe not as much as what I would really want, especially for two of them. I think there's two. Yeah, for two of them. Aim that one. So Phoenix Guard are definitely wearing it, and it would have probably continued as a very happy trade-off between the two had the dragon actually been killed. But the dragon hasn't died, and we're just doing a happy backwards and forth. Anyway, the dragon's gone back over here, having chased both the Marauder Horseman and the Lord off the field, but yeah, he's not looking too well. He's still got 2,500 or 2,300 hit points. But I mean, congratulations to my opponent in the fact that this dragon is really just a tank, just to soak up damage, and that's exactly what it's done. So having noticed that the dragon's coming back, I thought, right, well, better prepare for an assault on the Hell Cannon, because really that's the only decent weapon that I have. And I realised that the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers are a little bit exposed, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll bring in my chariot. That's as much thought as I put into it, because I was slightly preoccupied here. And of course, Breath Attack, which just melts the Hell Cannon and quite literally breaks it. So, I mean, there's not much that you can do with this when a dragon decides to wreck your day. So, and again, to my opponent, well done. He's put his Phoenix Guard right in the road of the Chaos Chariot, and this is going to go very badly. I'm not microing it, and they're just going to get gleefully walloped. to the point of routing again. So not really well used. On the upside here, we've got the White Lions and the Archers, and this is what my Chaos Warhounds have been waiting for. I know that we're not going to do very much against these guys because they're quite tough, good armour, etc. Whereas the Archers have half the armour, and they'll be very tasty. So I thought I'd send out my Chaos Spawn to actually do something useful. Forsaken and just Chaos Marauders, just a small group there. So the Poison Warhound's going to slow them down, probably not do a great amount of damage, probably rout, and then I'll get these guys to come around. As you can see, the Chaos Chariot routed off, not really having done anything useful, getting 3 kills, which is nothing. So nothing I like seeing more than High Elf Archers getting eaten, because they are certainly painful if you don't own them. So yeah. My radioactive warhounds having a great meal on elven flesh, and surprisingly these guys routed as well, which is good for me. I wasn't complaining. So the warhounds did really well. The dragon had been bothering my backline for a bit, but I mean with the halberds that just got melted with the halberds and continual spirit leeches from the Chaos Sorcerer. It's looking less healthy. I mean, 932 hit points is still quite a bit to bring down. So I thought, well, we better join battle eventually. I mean, there's nothing really I can do. The Hell Cannon, they're just the dwarves, the crew, and there's 4 left. So I don't know that 4 dwarves ever turn the tide of battle, unless it's, Grombrindle and all the other legendary lords all in the same army, which would sort of break the canon a little bit. So yeah, the dragon's coming over to help, but I don't think really it's going to do much. And again, so we're really closing the distance here to our eventual doom, I would imagine, because the Swordmasters, anti-infantry, anti-large, but I mean really the Phoenix Guard will do really well against pretty much most targets. And of course you've got Tyrion, so who hasn't used, as far as I can remember, any magic yet. So, but he doesn't actually have any magic. Oh, Teclis. Teclis is the other one. So yeah, sorry, he's got the fighter, not the lover. Anyway, so I thought, okay, well, I'll bring the Warhounds around. We'll see what we can do. It's probably not a lot. I was going to try and bother the Eagle Claw bolt throwers, but again, he's paying attention, which is good. Phoenix Guard looking to guard this area. So here come the ragtag, pitiful little band. I mean, Chaos Spawn aren't the smallest things ever, but it's going to be bad. And here they come. Enjoy. So yep, lots of flailing, lots of dying. I just wish I had, another 3 units of them. So they're losing because Swordmaster's obviously very good. And really, had I had a little bit better timing, I could have attacked as 1 unit. Anyway, the Phoenix Guard are busy somewhere else, so I get to finally attack the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, which has been causing lots of difficulty for me. And we'll see how the rest goes. Unfortunately, the dragon is still alive, and now it's coming to do what it's supposed to do and make life difficult for my leadership. But seeing him come through, I thought, okay, well, I'll just go and hide in a whole heap of pointy halberds, and they very quickly take out the Star Dragon, which thankfully is now dead. Well, should be in a minute. Yes, and everybody was happy, except for the dragon and the High Elves. So, almost a foregone conclusion here. There's not really a lot that's going to get through the armor piercing. Is not going to offer much armor piercing damage. So, I did what I can with the Warhounds. Really sort of symbolic victory over the annoying bolt throwers. But I mean, it's like knocking off the Hell Cannon dwarves. There's not really a lot to them. So that was good. Enjoyed that bit. Yay. But over here in the main battle, the elite infantry are elite, and as you can see, bodies everywhere. Unfortunately, slightly more bodies of my guys than their guys. Chaos Spawn just takes one for the team. So I thought possibly I could get some sort of route, but leadership's too high. I've got all the buffs still kicking on, and my little roving warband will soon be no more. Having a good go though. I thought maybe...
Going.
Thought it's probably not a good idea to hang around to go with a flaming sword, so we're just going to run away in a tactical retreat, and maybe buy some more time. Warhounds, gonna have a go. For some reason, I thought I was fighting techless. Yeah, so when you see melee expert instead of squishy spellcaster, yeah, that explains volumes. Thankfully though, I've got a whole heap of disposable units that won't do a lot, but at least it'll slow him down. Just my sorcerer had no more winds of magic. You know, Fate of Buna or something like that would have made life difficult. Even another Spirit Leech would have been something. But there's only so much that the warp provides. And just walk through a wall of fire, which was pretty good. And I mean, I was surprised that my units held up for as long as they did, given that, you know, really, they're only Chaos Marauders. And that is all she wrote. So congratulations to my opponent. It was a good game, interesting. I wasn't expecting to win, but certainly had a decent go. So you can see that, yeah, really the heavy lifting was done by Chaos Warhounds, but these guys were probably the ones that gobbled up the archers. And not really anything of note. I mean, most of his time and energy was used killing off the dragon, which he didn't end up actually killing, or weakening the dragon. If the Hell Cannon had been able to continue for a bit longer, that would have been something. But again, Phoenix Guard, living the dream over here, and also the Swordmasters of Haworth. So, yep, congratulations to my opponent. It was a good game, and certainly a learning experience. As always, if you can think of anything that I could have done better with the units that I had, or tweaks to the army that I took, I'm happy to hear them in the comments. And that's it for me. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. 7 out.